May time has started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week of assemblies. And it's our last week in school because on Friday we break up for 1 week's half-term holiday. So that's rather lovely. And I've chosen that song. It's a new song for us. It's called May Time Has Started. In fact, we're well on our way through May, aren't we? And when we come back after the holidays, it will be June. I've chosen that because it's about May Time Has Started and dancing around the maypole. And when I was turning back time and having a look at some school photographs, I found some photographs of children dancing around a maypole in our school. So it just seemed to link in really well. Now, I was going to do something totally different this week. I was going to move on from the theme of school history. But I'm not going to move on because I've had so much interest, so many emails, so many questions, so many things that are being sent in by parents and children that I think we need to just tie up some loose ends. We finished the week, didn't we, with still a little bit of mystery around the old school and around the school badge in particular. And I'm hoping that in this week's assembly, I have got further to finding out the truth about our school badge. And I've got some incredibly exciting findings. I really do feel like I have been a proper historian and it's been so exciting. I've got some massive things to unveil around both the bell and these, and all I'll say for you to you now is so many people have said, oh, those are shears to shear the sheep. They're not shears. And one parent put me onto a little bit of research and I've managed to find out a little bit more about that, and also some added meaning to the bell, but I'm going to make you wait to find that out. Who knew that history was so exciting? And why is it so exciting? I was thinking about what history actually gives us really as human beings, and I was thinking it's a little bit like we now are these flowers. These are cut flowers. We're in our prime. We're growing. We're blooming. We're living in the present with the future to look forward to. But history, in a way, a life without history, in terms of what's come before, is a bit like a flower without roots. History gives us our roots. You know, in terms of our school, we're only sat where we are today. You know, you are sitting in a building that is part of history, that has a history. And we're only here today in school talking about this because of the endeavours and the efforts that people have put in the past. And that story of our school and any kind of history, actually, whether it's going back to the Roman times or the ancient Egyptians, is part of the roots of who we are as human beings today. So for me, history gives us roots, and roots are nice. They are secure. They make us feel grounded. They make us understand who we are and where we came from. So for me, I think that's one of the reasons that history is so important. I think it helps us to learn about ourselves in the present. So the first thing I'm going to do then in today's assembly is I'm going to say a really big thank you, massive thank you to Jack's mum. Jack is in year 6 and Jack's mum's kind of caught the history bug and has been sending me all sorts of bits and pieces from her own connections and Jack's own connections going back in generations with the school. So she's shared some photographs that she's happy for me to share with you, and let's see what clues these provide to the history of our school. So the first one is fairly recent because Jack's mum's really young. This is a picture of Jack's mum and it's her uncle as well, so brother and sister here, and this was back in 1997. Now Mr. Naylor, I think you might know this person because this was Jack's uncle Daniel, and we think he was probably in your class in school. So about 1997. What do we learn from this? Well, we certainly had school uniform back then, and it looks to me like there might have been different school uniform for whether you were younger or older, or maybe a bit like our hoodies and jumpers now, maybe there was a choice, because this young man seems to have a really big Northowram Primary School logo on his sweatshirt, whereas Jack's mom has got the badge that we recognise today, but it hadn't turned into blue and yellow, which it is now, isn't it? So there we go. So we know we were wearing uniform then, looking really smart. And then also Jack's mum sent in something brilliant, a couple of extra bits. She sent in, do you remember the mugs that I showed from Lucas' family? And they were to celebrate when the old school building closed and we moved up to the building that we're in now. Well, I found another mug. Now, I haven't got the actual mug, but somewhere, this must be very precious because it's even older. There is, in Jack's family's house, this is a photograph of it, another different mug. And can you see it's got a colour drawing of our old school, the school down the way where some of your family now live. And on the back of that mug, this was really interesting, it had a big picture of a bell and it said presented by the committee of Northowram School Old Boys Association to commemorate the centenary year 1877 to 1977. So first of all, I'm not sure that date's right, you know, because we had the original logbook, didn't we, last week? And we found the first log was actually in 1876. It was built in 1874 and opened in 1876. So I'm not sure that shouldn't be 1876. But look, they must have had some kind of celebrations when it was 100 years, still down in the old school, 100 years of the school being built. And it's made me think again that in a few years' time, remember, it's going to be 150 years since our lovely school opened, the old building. So there we go. We know there must have been some kind of celebrations. Maybe something happened in the village. Maybe there was a bit of a fete or a fair to celebrate 100 years of the school. And not only that, but Jack's mum also sent me a really good photograph, which gives us another clue to the past. I've got that many things open on my computer. Just bear with me, everybody. I'll just try and find that for us. Is it that one? There we go. Okay, I'll make this bigger so you can see it. So this is from, we think, what did we think now? I've forgotten what date she said now. Let me just have a look. Sorry, bear with me, everybody. Okay, we think about 1974, and she said, please note that the school doesn't have the logo on the uniform. So in terms of when this school badge might have been created, it's not on the uniform in 1974, but it is at the bottom of the photograph, which is proof that the school badge existed in the 1970s in 1974. So I'll show you this photo. And here we've got Jack's nana and Jack's great uncle. So I'll turn my camera around. Here we go. There we are. Okay. So this will have been down at the old school. And I think, Jack, that this is your nana. And I think this is your great uncle here. So have a look. Still very much looks like that the uniform at the time was shirts and blouses with ties. Some of the girls like you are wearing pinafores, some in skirts, and the boys seem to have, like most of them, a grey V-neck sweater on, so that's interesting. And then still some children who aren't in uniform, which is also interesting. So I might have thought, oh, there's no school badge, maybe it hadn't been invented yet, maybe it was something that was done at the new school. But then at the bottom, look, Northowram County Primary School, and there in the 1970s is an image of our school badge. So even though it hadn't made it onto the uniform yet, it was being used for other purposes. Okay, so thank you so much to Jack's mum. That's been an absolutely brilliant bit of science history investigation for us, and it's really helping us to piece things together. Now, I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger today about our school's history. I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger, and I'm going to leave you wondering, okay? This is the big reveal, okay? up until this weekend, I was absolutely sure that the first school in Northowram was the old school that we talked about last week. 1874 was when the school was built and when children started going to school. But my cliffhanger that I'm going to leave you on is this is not the first school in Northowram. And the first school in Northowram was over 100 years earlier than this one. And it's very close to the old school building. So when you're going home tonight, as you walk past the old school building, just have a look around the place and see if you can see where you think the first school building was. You might be surprised. I certainly was. I had no idea. So I promise you tomorrow I'll tell you about the very first school building, and I'll also reveal some secrets which link through to the old school building to our school badge. So there we go, lots to look forward to. In the meantime, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye for now.